Parshas Emor in Vayikra Kaf Aleph, the pasuk tells us the difference between a Kohen Gadol and the regular Kohanim, who they made matami themselves for. So even though it says lenefesh lo yatame be'amav, the next verse, pasuk Bet, immediately tells us the 7 relatives that a regular Kohen may matami himself for. Ki'im lish'ero hakarov elav. That the big question is, who is that talking about? Is that just an introduction to the next 6? Or is it a category in itself, the 7th one? So let's count it as the 7th one, or the first of 7. And Rashi tells us right away that it is his wife, Ishto. He gets it from the Gemara in Sota, in Yevamos. It's well known there are 7 closest relatives, and Ishto is hinted at in those words, and that's what the Kli Yakar will discuss. So after that you have Li'imo or La'aviv. Fine. Then Bano Bito. That's 4, counting the 5th. And Ula'achiv, the 6th. And La'choto Besula Krov. So there you have, and even when it says about her, it's Hakrova Elav. It's the sister that's Krova Alav. But when it comes to talking about the wife that we think it means Ki'im l'she'ero hakarov elav, it's masculine. And that's what's bothering the Kli Yakar. If it means wife, which we know that it does, why does it not say hakrova elav? Make it feminine. You are talking about a female, your wife. So that's the first thing he wants to say. Nevertheless, the Kli Yakar is bothered. Number 1, why does it say she'ero, masculine, his flesh, his relative, okay? And hakarov elav, who is closest to him, again, it should have said krova elav. Knowing that it's ishto, she is closest to him, it's still masculine. So what he wants to say is this, that why does it say she'ero even before the mother and the father? It's just a side point. He's also bothered by the fact that the wife is coming before the father and the mother, because he already spoke about, previous to this idea, that there are different levels of tuma, and perhaps a Kohen either doesn't have any tuma at all or is under a very light tuma, and therefore it's not such a pagam for the Kohen to matami himself for other Kohanim who are his closest relatives. But how is the wife then included? Number 1, she most likely, let's just say, is probably not a Bas Kahuna. She's not necessarily of the Kohen lineage. And it doesn't say Hakrova Elav regarding the wife. And it should have, if that was the case. So he right away brings a Gemara from Yevamos, Samach Gimel Amud Aleph. Said Rabbi Yossi to Eliyahu Navi, right? How does a woman help her husband? In what way is she such a great help? So he answers, what do you think? He brings home the wheat and he just chews on the wheat? No. She obviously cooks it. She mashes it. She lushes it. She bakes it. Well, what about the pishtan? What, he brings home the wool or the flax or the cotton? What, that's what he wears? No, obviously. And so he uses these beautiful words to explain what she does. Nimtzat mi'ira einav, u'ma'amidato agraglav. She's the light of his eyes. She enlightens his eyes. She brings real peace to the home, and she stands him up on his feet. Meaning, she's the one who really makes him, and she nourishes him. That's going to be the idea. She really nourishes him in many ways. I mean, with the Kli Yakar doesn't say this, but we know that all the blessings of the home come through the wife. So basically, the Kli Yakar says, "Vadai ishto mitparnas to." She's the one who is supporting him and nourishing him. So what is she'ero? According to the Kli Yakar, it's mizono, mamish nourishing him. And why does it say hakarov elav? Because when she nourishes him, right? Let's say all the baking and the cooking and all the cleaning and laundering, whatever it is that she's doing for him, it's her own sweat, it's her own energy that's being put into the food, so to speak, and you are what you eat. When he eats the food that she prepares for him, it becomes his flesh. It becomes his flesh. So she is putting herself into it, and then he is eating it, and therefore it is hamazon nehefach elaguf hanizon. So the principle the Kli Yakar wants to bring down is the idea is that he's metame lemishu zanoto, for the very person who's nourishing him, because the mazon itself becomes him. He is actually, why is it masculine? Because it's karov elav. It actually becomes his own goof. Okay? And we have this famous expression, Al kain kol ishto kaguf adamya. She is actually, and we have a halacha that says what? That a man must honor his own wife more than himself. Now, even though back in Genesis in Bereshit Bet Kaf Gimel, that we see that woman was taken from the very essence of man, and God says there, Zos Hapam, it's true that it happened only once in all of history, that a woman was actually separated physically from a man and was his own bones. Nevertheless, even that was the Yitzir Rishona, nevertheless, all the Doros, for all generations, it comes out that she is the one who's Me'ira Einav, Ubish'ero Mzono. She adds to his own flesh. She enlightens his eyes, and she is basically Bish'ero Umazono. She is his flesh and his nourishment. Therefore, it's certainly fitting for him to matami himself for her. Say, the Kli Yakar points out, it doesn't say Ishto B'Feirush, right? It actually says, right, only the relative that's closest to him. And that is because, to explain the very reason why he's matame for her, because she became his flesh. They are one flesh. The Kli Yakar then tells us another din, and that is specifically by a Gadol Hador, or any great Rav. So we have to understand that whenever it says in Mod Katan, Talmid Chacham Shemeis Hakol Kekrovav, everyone is considered like his relative. We drop what we're doing, we close our businesses, we go to the Levaya of the Gadol Hador, and it's learned basically this concept in Gemara Brachos Yud Zayin, Kol Olam Nizon B'Shvil Chanina Bani. One of the Gadol Hador is saying that the whole world is basically has parnasa and shefa because of a great tzaddik. And to emphasize this point, we have a Gemara in Baba Kama, Ein pranios bole olam ki im ba'avor harashoyim. Okay, so basically you have a punishment, din needs to come into the world, and Hashem is only bringing it because of the evil acts of the Rishoyim. But Einum matchilim ki im b'tzadikim. But he's going to take out the tzadikim first. And we learn this from a verse in Shmos Kaf Bet, Pasuk Hey, where it says, Ki tetze eish u'matza koitzim v'nechel kedish. So, as in Mishpatim explains that we're responsible for the fires that we create, make sure they don't cause damage, and if fire goes out, and it says, and it finds kotzim, but it's past tense, it's nechel gedish. So the kotzim obviously represent the evil people. That's why the Peronios came into the world. But who does it consume first? Unfortunately, it consumes the standing grains, which is represented by the tzaddik. And the Kli Yakar points out that there's no wonder why the tzaddikim are compared to something that nourishes you. It actually, right, the standing corn, the standing corn is what nourishes you. So when Hashem wants to bring Peronius to the world, because Israel's not doing the will of Hashem, the first thing he'll do is Masir Tzilam Aleim. First he'll take away the tzaddikim, because the righteous people are keeping the Peronios from happening. So in order for the Peronios to come, Hashem has to take away the tzaddikim first. So this is really coming to answer the Kli Yakar's real question is, why doesn't it just say Ishto? But rather it says Ki im l'she'ero hakarov elav, masculine, because it's also hinting to a Talmid Chacham who is mazin not just you, me, but the whole generation, and everyone is considered like his relative. And now we understand why it also comes before the father and the mother. There is a halacha that says that, God forbid, if, and this is only academic, of course, that if someone's father or his Rebbe is drowning, or if they have lost objects, and you only have the ability to either save one of them or save the object, so then you have to save your Rebbe before your own parent, because that's why it comes first, because it's also hinting to the Rav, the Gadol Ador, the Tzaddikim in the generation that are also Mizano Tanu, right? They're actually nourishing us. So basically, if we remember, there's a Gemara that says that when Rebbe Yehuda Nasi died, that the Kohanim were Mevato. What does that mean? It means just then and there, for that period of time of the Levaya, that even the Kohanim are supposed to go, because it was all on account of the Tzaddik, the holy sage, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, who was Mizan, the generation, and this is the reason why that the Kohen, the regular Kohen, would matam himself. Number one, for his wife, because she is the light of his life. She nourishes his soul and his body. And of course, the tzaddikim, the great tzaddikim, also through their learning and their tzidkus and their righteous acts, they are also bringing shefa into the world and keeping the world going. And with that, have a good Shabbos.
Yiboneh, Hamikdash, Yitzion, 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 Yitzion,